All right, let's talk about one of the absolute make-or-break skills for any project manager: controlling costs. This is the process that makes sure a project doesn't just hit its goals, but actually stays financially healthy from beginning to end.
So, we're going to break this down into 4 parts. First, we'll tackle what I call the budget balancing act. Then, we'll get practical with the cost control playbook. After that, we'll look at how this plays out in the real world with a case study. And to wrap it all up, we'll have a quick reference guide that's perfect for your exams.
Okay, first up, the budget balancing act. Let's really get to the bottom of what cost control is all about and why it's so fundamental for any project that wants to succeed financially.
This is the question that probably keeps project managers awake at night, right? Why do so many projects blow their budget? Well, the truth is, a project plan, it's just a best guess at a single point in time. The reality of actually doing the project is messy, it's dynamic, and things almost never go exactly according to plan.
Throughout a project's life, you're just bound to run into unexpected curveballs. Maybe a key supplier is late, or the price of materials suddenly shoots up, or, some technical problem pops up that needs more people to fix it. Any one of these things can make your actual spending start to stray from what you originally planned.
And that is exactly why cost control is so incredibly important. It's not something you do once and then forget about. No way. It's this active, constant process of managing all those financial shifts to pull the project back in line and make sure it stays within its approved budget.
Okay, so we know what it is, but why is it so important? I mean, really, why is this a must-have skill? Let's dig into the 4 big reasons.
First, the obvious one. It stops you from going over budget, which is going to keep your stakeholders happy. That leads to financial stability for the whole project. But it's about more than just money. When you catch problems early, you actually improve the project's overall performance. And maybe most importantly, it gives you the cold, hard data you need to make smart calls instead of just guessing.
This really gets to the heart of it. It all boils down to comparing reality, what you're actually spending, with the plan. And in project management speak, that plan has a special name: the cost baseline. Just think of the cost baseline as your official, approved budget. It's your North Star for all things financial on the project.
Okay, so we've got the what and the why down. Now for the fun part, the how. Let's dive into the actual playbook, the step-by-step guide for making this happen.
This 5-step loop is basically the engine of cost control. First, you measure your actual costs. Step 2, you compare those costs to your plan, your baseline. Step 3, you spot the differences. We call those variances. Step 4, and this is super important, you figure out why there's a difference. And finally, step 5, you do something about it. And remember, you don't just do this once, it's a cycle you repeat over and over again for the whole project.
So, to actually do all that, project managers have a few really key techniques, kind of like tools in a toolbox. There's budget tracking, which is pretty straightforward, just keeping a close eye on your spending. Then there's variance analysis, where you get specific and calculate the exact difference between plan and reality. And then you have the really powerful one, earned value management, or EVM. What makes EVM so great is that it brings together cost, schedule, and scope, so you get this complete picture of how the project is really doing.
Okay, theory is one thing, but let's make this real. The best way to get it is to see it in action. So let's look at a case study.
So picture this. We have a construction project. For phase 1, the plan, the cost baseline, was $50,000. Simple enough. But when the dust settles and they run the numbers, the actual cost was $60,000.
Right away, you can see there's a problem. We have a cost variance of $10,000. And since we spent more than we planned, that's what's known as a cost overrun, or a negative variance. Not good.
So, okay, the project's over budget. But here's the most important part. Just knowing you're over by $10,000 isn't the point. The real job of the project manager starts now. Anyone can spot a problem. The key is what you do about it.
So what's the first move? The project manager jumps right to that analyze step. They'd be asking, okay, why did this happen? Did material costs go up? Was our team not working efficiently? Once they figure out the why, then they can act. Maybe they can find ways to cut costs later on or use their team more effectively in the next phase. In some cases, they might even have to go back and officially change the project plan.
All right, let's pull all of this together. This last part is all about getting you ready for your exams. Think of it as your cheat sheet with all the key points and a few tricks to remember them.
When you're in an exam, it's always a good idea to show both sides of the coin. So the pros of cost control are pretty clear, right? You stop budget overruns, you manage your money better, and you use your resources wisely. But it's not perfect. It has its limits. For one, it completely depends on having accurate data. Garbage in, garbage out. And even if you're doing everything right, some huge, unforeseen risk can still pop up and wreck your budget.
Now, if you get a question on an exam that asks you to define cost control, this right here is your golden ticket. This sentence has everything: monitoring expenses, comparing them to the budget, and taking action. It's short, sweet, and hits all the key marks.
But knowing the definition is one thing. What about remembering the actual steps when you're stressed out in an exam? Don't worry, I've got a super simple trick for that.
All you have to remember is the acronym MCAT. M is for monitor costs. C is for compare with the budget. A is for analyze the variance. And T is for take corrective action. MCAT. It perfectly lays out that whole cycle we talked about. If you remember that, you can structure a fantastic answer that shows you don't just know the definition, you know the process, step by step.